this YouTube video, we're gonna be going over how to weld your own Weld-It-Yourself Cage Kit. What we're gonna do is show you what you need to put together your Weld-It-Yourself Cage Kit from UTVSource.com. Behind me, this is the LSK Weld-It-Yourself Cage Kit. This is how it comes in this box, and the box behind it is the aluminum skin roof. It's an option. Actually, there's another option on this cage. You can get it flat roofed. They come in 2-seat models and 4-seat models. We got you covered. We got you covered for all you Can MX3 guys and YXZ guys as well, and Turbo S models are available. Just go to the website, select your make and model, type in cages, boom. It's gonna pop up, you're gonna see what we have. What's cool about this is it ships to your door, relatively inexpensive and very, very fast, considering that some cages have a extremely long lead time right now. Now, if you're willing to wait, that's great. If you're not willing to wait and you have some skill set behind you or a buddy that has some skill set behind him, this is a great option and very affordable. This cage is gonna keep you safe. Right off the bat, you're gonna notice everything is pre-bent. Well, it's laser bent, it's laser notched, it's laser cut, it's click to fit. It's like putting together the world's easiest puzzle. With that being said, you're gonna need some tools to put this cage together. You're gonna need some skill set. Obviously, you're gonna need a welder. You're gonna need welding gloves. You're gonna need a welding hood. You're gonna need welding wire for your machine and some gas in your bottle, right? Another thing you're gonna need is a grinder. It's a standard 4-inch grinder, 5/8 arbor. There's a lot of different grinding pads out there and stones that you may wanna pick up when you're doing this project. Another thing you're gonna need, fire blankets, very important. Our machine is completely torn down. I've removed the front plastics, the rear plastics, the cage is off, the seats are out, the harnesses are out, anything and everything is out of the machine and the battery is disconnected. Very important, disconnect your battery. Another thing you're gonna notice when you do this project, you need some fire extinguishers. I also like to keep a 5-gallon bucket of water handy with a rag just in case, you never know. So, now, this is how it's gonna ship to you. When you open it up, you're gonna notice it's sticky and dirty and makes your hands look black. Well, that's because steel is shipped with oils on it. What you're gonna need to do is wipe it all down. Just using some acetone, a little bit goes a long way. And some standard terry cloth towels. Very inexpensive, you can buy them in bulk. You're gonna wanna wipe it all down. It's very important to get all the contaminants, all the oils, all that crap off the steel. You don't wanna contaminate your weld, and the end goal is to have a very safe, clean, rad cage. This is gonna ensure that you're getting all that crap out of there, right? Once it's wiped down, you're good to go, you're ready to start the project. So I'm gonna let you guys know right off the bat, I have a little bit of experience in welding. In fact, I have a little over 20 years in the industry in structural welding, ornamental welding, offshore welding, custom hot rod fabrication, and off-road fabrication. So I have a little leg up on it. With that being said, I don't do this very often anymore. So if you're gonna take on this project, don't take it on as your very first welding project. If this is a project you want to take on, go to your local steel yard, pick up some scrap metal and start welding. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there that can help you along your way, and it's a very, very fun hobby, and for some, it's a very, very great job. If you don't know what you're doing, find a buddy that does or a shop that is willing to put it together for you. Again, this is a very cost-effective way about building your cage. That's kind of the cool feature on these Weld-It-Yourself Cage Kits is the project's in your own hands, and you can turn it into something more than what it really is. You can add to this cage if you know what you're doing with metal. It's a great platform, it's a great start. You don't need a tubing bender because it's already bent. You know, all the hard work is done. Everything is gonna bolt right in as it should. It comes with everything. Even the brand new cage bunks. You're gonna reuse your cage hardware. So we're gonna get into this. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna get cracking on it. and let's go. Alone today, so I'm gonna attempt to do this on my own. I've done it before, but it wasn't in this scenario, so this may go bad. Use 2 people, maybe 3. All right, everyone, you guys ready to get started on this project? It's gonna be fun, but first things first, did you remember to disconnect your battery? Did you remember to grab a fire extinguisher? Do you have all the proper safety equipment you're gonna need just in case something goes not so great? You can see behind me, I'm ready to go. I've got some fire blankets draped over the plastic. I recommend doing the same thing. If you're doing this project alone, which some of you may be doing alone, like myself, these are $1. They're spring clamps. They're awesome. They're gonna hold the tube into position. Okay, you're gonna notice some of the stuff's already on and it looks like I've jumped way ahead. I haven't, and I'm going to explain this. This is step 1. You're going to locate the tube clamps that are in the kit. Now every kit's gonna be a little bit different. We're going over the Pro XP kit. Let me show you. The front, you're gonna have 2 tube clamps, just like the factory does. This cage can unbolt when we're done and be welded out and sent to powder coat. I have them loose right now. You can see they're not tight. It's for a reason. I want to be able to slide the main tubes in, our main structure. If those are tight, it's going to be a little bit difficult, so loosen them off. This is the center junction of our cage. It is tight. It is 2 sleeves and a floating tube. Tack it yet. In the back, it's the same. You have a tube clamp. It is tight. You can see the junction that we're going to be tacking and my second pair of hands. This is very important, guys. When you're tacking all this together, put the tack in a position that you can easily break it loose if you have to move the tube. You're gonna end up moving tubes eventually, so don't weld it out. This isn't something you're gonna wanna just jump in and start welding. That's not the process. We're assembling right now, so that means put a tack in it. Go to the next section. This is your road map. This is it. This is all you're gonna get, and it's very simple. See the picture, build the picture. There's opposing sides, left to right, driver to passenger. The directions are very simple. They're numbered, they're laser etched, and this is what it says. Driver side tubes have normal written etch marks. Passenger side tubes have backward written etch marks. That makes sense. All single tubes have etch marks located on driver's side. Okay, so there's going to be opposing tubes that may not be labeled. You're gonna have a driver's side that is marked, the passenger side won't be marked, but there'll be similar tubes. Pretty simple. As you can see, I've got the main hoop in, which they're calling XP1. I have XP7 in and the sleeves. And all the lugs are in. That's your starting point. So my next step is I'm gonna locate XP3, which is the back tube of our cage, and XP4 and XP2. We're gonna build out the top of the structure, and then we're gonna tighten some things up. That should force all this to collapse on itself before we even put a tack down. That's the goal. All right, guys, here we go. I've gotten the 3 parts that I'm gonna be working on right now, which is the top section of our cage, the center section of our cage, and the back section of our cage. They're laid out. You'll notice I have a ratchet strap up there. I'm gonna be controlling the tension on this. The cage is gonna move left to right until we tack it. We're not ready to tack yet. We're assembling. So when you're up here, you're gonna notice right off the bat, if you've assembled your two main hoops correctly, there'll be an indexing square on the inside hole that's been laser cut. You also have an indexing laser cut little square nub here. That's right where that goes. We're putting that into the piece. It's gonna hold itself up. I'm gonna open this up a little bit. I'm gonna push everything over right now, and I'm going to tighten that up a tad. Just like that. So the cage is gonna move on you, just like this. That's fine, as long as we're holding tension here. All the fit up is so tight, there's no gaps. It's rad, just from doing that. So the next one is, same thing. If you've got it installed correctly, there's two indexing holes here that are already in the tube. That's what makes this so rad. Back of this tube, it's gonna fit right in. Now you're gonna notice I have tension on that. That's okay, because when I put this in, my plan is to do this. I'll probably just go over it, just like that. Watch this. This is where things might get a little weird for you. This is gonna locate itself up here. This is where you're gonna need a tape measure. Now again, doing things on your own can be difficult. Measure 5 times before you do anything, because the start of your project is the most important. So I've already gone ahead and measured my ID to center of tube, 18.5, 18.5, 18.5, and 18.5. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a tack here, I'm gonna put a tack here, I'm gonna put a tack on both sides of the center tube. Not on the top or on the bottom, because I'm not 100% sure if this tube needs to rotate. Rotate it down. I wanna make sure that this eyebrow isn't up too high, because we ordered this with the aluminum roof. So I wanna make sure the roof fits too. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna leave this up. It's not in my way. I'm gonna grab the aluminum sheet metal roof, which is the option on this cage and all the LSK Weld-It-Yourself Cage Kits that we offer on the website. I'm gonna make sure that it fits the crown, in case I need to make an adjustment on that top eyebrow tube. I'm gonna go ahead and make an adjustment. All right, so the aluminum roof skin's not fitting just perfect. That's all right. This is why we tack. So I got a level. We're basically going to carry it across the top and make the necessary adjustments. We're gonna get the level and make sure everything's in the same plane. Because if that center tube is too tall, your roof's gonna be like this. When you go to put it on, nothing's gonna line up, because everything is pre-cut, pre-drilled, click to fit. This is an important step. So, I'm going to do it again. Okay, so I'm almost touching there. I want to double check this. A little high still. What I'm going to do is turn the tube around and flip it and see if that helps the cause. Ha-ha! Success! Now I'm a little low, but that's an easy fix. You see what I'm getting at? That's why we tack it in certain places. So what I'll do is I'll get this on the same line. First, I'm gonna make sure I'm all squared up and everything is legit. And I'll bring that up. So all I'm gonna do right now is use my spring clamps. Again, I'm doing this alone, so I'm just gonna hold some things into position. What I'm trying to do is center up the tube, plus keep this distance the same. And I'm going off the bend to the back of the cage right now. And then I'll probably pull from that nut to center of tube, which we can just do right now. I'm gonna hook it on the nut. It's a fixed point. 32 3/4. Right there, 32, and could use a little bit of adjustment. So what I'm gonna do right now is put a tack here and here. My distance is the same, but if I need to, tack there and there, I can rotate this eyebrow tube. I call it the eyebrow because it's at the leading edge, the face of the cage. I can rotate it up to be in line with our main tubes. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Bringing in my third arm. It's called a clamp. Good to go. Good on this side. I have a little gap here, but once I tack that side, I can go ahead and pry this side, get it to where I want it. Again, tacking where I can cut it loose. Now we're gonna test fit that skin for the last time. That is the hardest part of this cage, or any cage. That's your starting point. That's your main structure right there. If you've done it right, everything will line right up. We're good to go. Next step is, there's a couple ways we can work this. You can start on the back moving in, but since we're already at the front, I'm gonna go ahead and put the dash bar in and the V bar in. Front will be all tacked in. Let me get those parts. You guys still with me? Good. That took me about 25-30 minutes to make sure everything on the top of our cage was squared up, pulling a tape multiple times and making sure that the center tube running parallel with the two main tubes that set the height and pretty much dictate everything. You need to make sure that center tube is at the same plane. So the next step is putting in the lower dash bar and the optional V-bar or intrusion bars, better known in the off-road industry. We're gonna go ahead, as you can see, I've already tacked them into play. This step's actually pretty easy, but you can make a mistake really, really quick. And it's also a good idea at this point to step back. These vehicles, these side-by-sides, don't come perfectly square from the manufacturers. Not everyone is alike, so in some instances, your tape may be telling you the truth, but your eye is gonna show you that it's not really right. So you can fudge. It's okay if you have to fudge. This layout so far has proven to be a very tight, nice, coped kit. Everything's laser cut. They did a great job. But remember, they're working from a perfectly straight jig, a fixture, when they design these. So their stuff's like on point. It is what it is. Take your time on this step, do it right, and then when you're done, you're gonna notice these tubes right here. If everything is done right, these are gonna fit right in and be perfect. Looks rad. So let's move to the back. If I've done my job right, everything should go together just fine. I'm checking fit right here, and everything is matching up. So this one, I'm gonna go ahead and level out right there. I'm going to center it. Put some tacks on it. On the sleeve. It's a nice fit. Pretty good. Now again, I'm going to tack it on the back side. just in case I have to open this tube up. Good, look at that. That looks really good. Show you the fit up right now. That's what you're going for. One more tube. But don't weld yet. So, it should pop right in and land under that tube if we've done everything else right. God, I'm pretty happy with that. Kind of lined right up. So now at this point, what I'm gonna do is basically take a wire wheel on all my tacks, probably throw a couple more tacks on the other side of everything. It's locked in. I'm gonna go ahead and tack the cage. Get this out of my way. There we go. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I might make another adjustment. So, I'm gonna dial my machine in. We can start welding. All right, so now that I got my wire speed pretty much dialed in, I've got this tube to tube from our cutoff parts that came with our kit. And I set a gap. I'm just gonna see how my welding machine's gonna do if I hit a gap. That's it. So I just got a little shim going right now. Give it a little tack. Pull that out. Pretty good. So it's laying flat with a gap right there. I got a little keyhole right here. You can see there's no belly, and that's when you know your welding machine's getting there. Like, it's pretty dialed in. I'm not blowing through the material. I'm not setting a big hole. It's not rolling over. The tip is pointed up just a little bit, and I'm staying right in the puddle. So I'm gonna finish this off and see what it looks like. I'm ready to start welding. Let's do this. All right, guys, take your time, enjoy the process, and try and get at least 40 to 50% of your welds done on the chassis. Remember, it acts as a jig. It's holding your cage. It's acting as a fixture. Let it cool down, pop it off. You can take it outside, flip it upside down, put it on the sides, make it easy to get into those welds, and have a good time with it. So, let's get to welding. I think it turned out pretty good. I hope yours did too. Here's the deal. These cages, they're super fun. It's like a project, right? You get to beat the lead times on some of the cage manufacturers out there. It's gonna ship right to your house in a box with all the parts. The directions are super simple. All the hard work's done for you. All the bends are done, all the copes are done. It's all done by laser. It clicks into position, and there's very, very little gap, if any, if you put it together and you took your time doing it. Remember, guys, tack everything up first, then weld some of it out on your machine, then you can pull it off and weld the rest out. After that, you get to choose if you want to take it to the powder coater or use some steel on it. And remember, when you're visiting the website at utvsource.com looking for your cage, there's options. This is the radius roof, there's a flat roof available, and the aluminum skin is also available. It's an option. 2-seat and 4-seat for most makes and models out there, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. I hope you're not scared to taking on this project. It is a lot of fun. If you take your time, you can end up with a really, really nice, safe cage to put on your UTV, and one that you can be proud of. So on that note, guys, make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, continue to follow us on Instagram as well at UTV Source. Get involved in the stories and see what we're up to next. So I'm gonna get this out and load it on my truck, take it to the backyard. See you guys next time.